And welcome to another episode of Doki Doki Literature Club. Plus, I bring Stabbity, the stabby that ever stabbity'd. And with me once again is Snowball. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, it's your wonderful demon Snowball here. I'm glad to be around.
I'm glad about everything except the demon part. Bad demon. Bad demon. Anyway, last time we wrapped up our second loop through Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, which involved deleting Monica. But we don't actually need to get back in and see what happens because it's the exact same thing as last time. Instead, we're just going to go to Files, reset.sh, open. All modified entries will be reverted to their initial states. Yes! Reinitialization, and we are starting. There's still more after you delete Monica. I know, but that was after...
I love the DOS, or not DOS, just like the Windows architect right here.
It's definitely DOS style. Definitely reminiscent of that. Yeah, JP, I already did that on the first playthrough. And I admit that the first playthrough was 8 months ago, since we wrapped that up, probably a little bit more. But yeah.
Indeed.
There's no reason to repeat stuff. This game is not suitable for children, or those who are easily disturbed. Individuals suffering from anxiety or depression may not have a positive experience playing this game. Would you like to review detailed content warnings? Whoops. I did not want to hit yes. My bad. Skip.
Someone has fast fingers.
Alright, so this is the start of Loop 3. Loop 1 was Natsuki. We ended up playing with your waifu. Loop 2 was Sayori. We played with the childhood friend. And Loop 3 is Yuri. And the reason for that is because Yuri was the one that I did,
Welcome, Rainbow Teddy. How are you?
Yeah, welcome, Rainbow Teddy. Welcome. Yuri was the one, the only story that I completed when I played Doki Doki Literature Club, not Plus, the original version. Anyway, Rainbow, glad to have you, and hope you enjoy Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. We are on the third lap, so you may be a little confused if you haven't been through it before. And if you haven't, definitely check out the LP instead of watching the stream, because we're going to be rocketing through this. Please enter your name. Well, that is none other than Stabbity. Now, since we're on Loop 3, we're going to hit skip, and we're going to skip through all the dialogue that we've already seen. Which is everything.
All of it, yep.
Yep.
Damn, they go in hyperspeed.
Yep, we sure went hyperspeed and straight to here. Well, it's a good thing I didn't say we're going to stop as soon as we finish this, because otherwise we'd be stopping after just a few minutes.
Yep, the quickest stream.
Okay, let's check a few things here. Oh my goodness, you, good. There we go.
You need her list. That's what you're planning to do.
I am definitely stealing from the list. Unrestrained sounds right. Yes, it is. Uncontrollable? Yes. Graveyard definitely sounds right. Yes, it is. Sensation? Yes. I'm getting good at this. Unrequited? No, that's probably, that's someone else. Oh, Sayori.
Like
Duh,
Sayori.
that's obviously
Yep.
Sayori. Effulgent. Yes. Philosophy, definitely.
The rule for Yuri, if you cannot pronounce the words, it's probably hers.
Yeah. Entropy. Yes. Nightgown, maybe? Nope.
That sounds more like Sayori.
It could be.
Or actually, no, Natsuki.
Passion? No.
That's Natsuki, I know that one.
Clouds, beauty, no. Kawaii, definitely not. Lazy, dazzle. No dazzle. Skipping, spinning. Nope. I think we don't have anything for a perfect, any words for Yuri on this one. Passion, clouds, beauty, kawaii, nightgown, lazy, dazzle, skipping, spinning, fluffy. Well, I guess I have no choice but to save the perfect letter for next time. The perfect poem for next time, that is.
I would still look what gets you 2 points for Yuri instead of the 3 points, since it goes a 1, 2, 3 point system.
Sure. Do you have one that you want to grab, or?
I have to pull up the list. Give me a second.
Yeah. My list doesn't show that, so you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to grab spinning.
Grab passion.
Passion?
Yeah, there you go. That gives like 2 to Yuri.
Infallible sounds right. Yes, it is. Embrace? No.
Fickle.
Empty?
I'm surprised Fickle's not.
Yes. It is. Frightening? Yes. Incapable? Yes. Headphones, happiness, defeat? No.
What about question?
Question, yes. That it is. Melancholy?
Wrath.
Melancholy it is.
Oh, melancholy.
Determination, determination. Contamination, contamination it is. Disaster, disaster. Hopeless? No. That's Sayori also.
Funniest thing is, if you were to hit any of Natsuki's, the one that she jumps up, I have that sticker still on my mouse. As her chibi form.
Perfect. Special? No. Desire? Desire. Misfortune? No. Rainbow charm, disarray? Disarray. Not a perfect poem, sadly. Incapable sounds good, too. Yep. Hey again, Stabbity. Anyway, we're skipping through a bunch of things that we've already seen. Oh, hey, Rumble. Rumble.com. You're just a spammer. Kill the spammer. Kill the spammer. Kill the spammer.
Surprised we haven't had any spam here yet.
I guess they see that you're in charge and moderating. Mute user forever. Good. The spammer has been killed. Hi again, Stabbity. Normal teen redeemed hydrate. Very well, I shall hydrate. There we go. Hydration. Anyway, we'll be skipping all the stuff we've already seen, and we'll be getting to new stuff. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a little bit more. But at the same time, I would feel bad for distracting her from reading. I catch a glimpse of the cover of her book. It looks like the same book that she lent to me. Yes, that's right, we already had that bit where Yuri lent us a book. More than that, she seems to be on the first few pages. Alright, let me remember my Yuri voice. Oh, jeez. I need a little bit more water for that one.
I'm half tempted to pop up my voice mod and just start reading it for you.
My Yuri voice, crap.
You had it more as like a breathy, low voice like this.
That's right. She was a breathy, low voice. Oh, thank you. Normal
You
teen.
sound like you're dying.
I gotta go. Phone bouts to die. It's time for normal teen to rest under the grave for another millennia. Okay. Night,
fun.
normal teen. I think she noticed me looking at her. She sneaks another glance at me, and our eyes meet for a split second. But that only makes her hide her face deeper in her book. Sorry, I was just spacing out. I muttered this, sensing I made her uncomfortable. Oh.
It's fine. If I was focused, then I probably wouldn't have noticed in the first place. But I'm just rereading a bit of this book, so...
That's the book that you gave me, right?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to reread some of it. Not for any particular reason.
Just curious, how come you have 2 copies of the same book?
Well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday, that's not what I meant. I mean, I just happened to buy 2 of them.
Ah, I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decided to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon.
I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and relatable story.
That's what they all say.
Is that so? What's it about, anyway?
Well...
Yuri closes the book and scans her eyes over the back. The book is titled Portrait of Markov. There's an ominous-looking eye symbol on the front cover.
Alright. I just wanted to make sure I don't accidentally give anything away. Basically, it's about this girl in high school who moves in with her long-lost younger sister. But as soon as she does so, her life gets really strange. She gets targeted by these people who escaped from a human experiment prison. And while her life is in danger, she needs to desperately choose who to trust. No matter what she does, she ends up destroying most of her relationships, and her life starts to fall apart.
It's kind of dark, isn't it? Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so that dark turn came from nowhere. Yuri gently giggles all of a sudden.
Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Stabity?
No, it's not that. I mean, I can definitely enjoy those kinds of stories, so don't worry.
I hope so.
Yeah, I totally forgot that Yuri is into those things. She's so shy and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different. Oh, who would have guessed?
It's just that those kinds of stories, they challenge you to look at life from a strange new perspective. When horrible things happen, not just because someone wants to be evil, but because they have their own goals or their own philosophy that they believe in. Then suddenly, when you thought you related to the protagonist, they're made out to be the naive one for letting their one-sided morals interfere with the villain's plan. I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry.
Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything.
Well, I guess it's alright then. But I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing fill my thoughts, I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. So I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange.
Yuri, you're just our adorable, dreaming of suicide and self-harm girl.
And please, stop me if I'm talking too much.
I really don't think you need to worry. That just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club, after all.
That's true.
In fact, I might as well get started reading it, right?
You don't have to.
What are you saying? Just a moment ago you said you were looking forward to it. Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I had put into my bag. Alright, it's fine if I sit here, right? I slip into the seat next to Yuri's.
Yeah.
Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive.
That's, I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone.
I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything.
Alright.
Snowball posting some, Yoshino?
Yes, I'm still enjoying my subscriber thing thanks to Light Flavored.
Yep. Gifted subs are good. You get to use all the icons. And because I don't have chat working, no one else can see them. I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not a particularly bad thing, maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri is in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead.
Sorry. I was just...
Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you?
I do. I don't really mean to. Sorry. I mean...
Here, this should work, right? I slide my desk until it's up against Yuri's, then hold my book more between the two of them. Between the two of the desks, yes.
I suppose so.
Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we each lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It feels like my left arm is in the way, so instead I use my right hand to hold the book open. I guess that makes it, kind of difficult to turn the page.
Here...
Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. I do the same with my right arm on the right side of the book. That way, I turn a page, and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But in holding it like this, we're huddled even closer than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. It's as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face, and she's in the corner of my vision.
Are you ready?
Eh?
To turn the page?
Sorry. I think I got a bit distracted for a second. I glance over at Yuri's face again, and our eyes meet. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her.
That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me.
Yeah, thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she finishes the page before me, so I turn it by my own volition. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as she catches it under her own thumb. Hey, Yuri. This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit.
You think so? How does she?
Well, I guess she's more blunt in a lot of ways, but she also second guesses all the things that she says and does. Like she's afraid she'll do something wrong. It's not like I can see into your head or anything, but they're kind of reminiscent of some of your mannerisms.
I see.
Yuri remains silent for a moment.
But, Stabbity, that's probably a terrible thing to have in common with her. That's so embarrassing that you think that.
Wait! I didn't mean it in a bad way or anything. Sorry, I really didn't know you were self-conscious about that sort of thing. I guess I meant more that it's kind of cute.
What are you saying all of a sudden?
Okay, everyone.
Saved by the bell.
Or interrupted by Monica. I think it's about time we share today's poems with each other. We might not have enough time if we wait too long. Yuri exhales, spared from finishing her thoughts. Is that all right, Yuri? You look kind of down. I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this.
It's not. It's fine.
Yuri releases her hand from the book, causing it to close on top of my thumb. Alright, I guess I'll do some more reading tonight. Or would you prefer I only read it with you?
I guess I don't have too much of a preference either way.
In that case, I'll read a little more tonight. It'll be more fun to read with you after it picks up a bit, you know?
That's, good reasoning. In that case, feel free to finish the first 2 chapters in your own time.
Alright. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book, then slip it back into my bag. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah. My relaxation ends. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I couldn't really find much inspiration since I've never really done this before. Well, now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a composition notebook. I can already see Monica's pristine handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Alright, who should I read first? Well, we're on Yuri's route, so let's grab Yuri. And even though we already read all these poems, I figure we may as well reread them. It doesn't hurt. Yuri seems the most experienced, so I start with her. I can trust her opinion to be fair.
We say doubtingly.
As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten.
Exceptional.
What was that?
Did I say that out loud?
Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face.
He's going to hate me.
You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri.
I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for?
Yuri takes a breath.
So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before.
Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time. Really.
Huh?
Yuri stares at me blankly, then looks at my poem again. ...
Well, I know that. I just meant,
Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her finger along the words in the poem, as if breaking it down more thoroughly.
Yeah, okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick writing styles separate from the topic matter, and they form-fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and the expressiveness are weakened.
Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert.
Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning by example, and trying new things.
Indeed, JP.
JP, if Yuri wasn't yandere, I'd hang out with her. Oh yeah, if she wasn't yandere, she would be amazing. Totally my type of girl.
I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little bit biased, though.
Biased? How?
Well,
You know how.
never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry.
It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing to herself, to me, or Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now?
Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it.
Yuri smiles dreamily as if that's a rare opportunity for her, which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Ghost under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow. Bathing. It must be this one. The last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time. The last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe, calm, breathing air of the present, but living in the past. The light flickers. I flicker back. ...
I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting.
What? I wasn't thinking that at all.
Yes, you do have horrible handwriting. I can't read cursive for life.
It took you a long time to read.
Oh man, I'm an expert at cursive. See, Snowball, that's the problem with the younger generation. They don't teach you how to do handwriting and write cursive.
Dyslexia is the reason. I could read it, it's just it messes with my dyslexia too much.
Well, do you know what DNA stands for?
No. I do not know the full name for DNA.
National Dyslexics Association.
National Dyslexic Association. You mean NDA? You said
That's
DNA.
the joke.
See,
That's
you
the
made me,
joke.
You made my brain hurt for a sec.
I consider that a success. JP, lol, my hand cramps up if I write too much in cursive. JP, me too. I was taking an exam, and it's just like, the exam's easy. Having my hand not hurt is hard. Well, I just don't read script very often. I read script very often because I write in cursive and my handwriting is way, way worse than Yuri's. I can barely read my own handwriting sometimes. I actually think your handwriting is pretty.
Write in cursive is my name.
Sorry, what was that?
The only thing I can write in cursive is my name. That's the only thing I learned.
That's a relief.
I guess she's relieved that you can only write your name in cursive.
Damn.
Also, I like the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive.
It wasn't too short. I usually write longer poems.
Not at all.
I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest, since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose.
Are you into ghosts, Yuri?
Actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Stabbity.
Really? I must have totally missed the point.
Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing.
That's a lot more solemn, putting it that way. I hadn't even thought of that. That's impressive.
It's nothing, really. Yours was impressive too, so...
Nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you.
You think so?
Yeah, of course.
You know, I was really nervous about doing all of this, but in the end, I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing my best for you, Stabity.
Me too. Me too. Who's next? Snowball, do you want me to go with Natsuki to see how much she hates this poem?
Nah, save her for the last.
Save her.
Yuri.
Save her for last it is. Sayori's next. This is a good poem, Stabity. Are you sure it's your first time? Of course. It's not that good. And I'm the kind of guy who would be... Am I the kind of guy who would be writing poems in his spare time?
Yes.
I guess you're right. But that's why it impressed me. Well, to be honest, I was afraid that you wouldn't do it seriously. Or that you wouldn't write one at all. I'm really happy just that you wrote one. It just reminds me of how you're really a part of the club now. Not to mention the fact that I'm standing in front of you in the club room. Well, of course. JP asks, hot take, is MP a simp or a Chad? He is Giga Chad. Kick is going to make their super chat feature called Giga Chat. Well, of course. I'm not really into it yet, but that doesn't mean I'll break my promise. See? It's like I said before, Stabity. Deep down, you're not selfish at all, you know? Trying new things like this for other people. That's something that only really good people do. Thanks, Sayori. I'm not sure if Sayori sees the full picture of my motive here. Then again, I can't deny that she's part of the reason I joined. Knowing how much this means to her and all. Yeah! And I'm gonna make sure you have lots of fun here, okay? That will be my way of thanking you. Alright, I'm going to hold you to that then. Yay! Now you'll read my poem too, right? Don't worry, I'm really bad at this. We'll see about that. Dear sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning, it makes me feel like you missed me, kissing my forehead to help me out of bed, making me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Are you asking me to come out and play? Are you trusting me to wish away a rainy day? I look above, the sky is blue. It's a secret, but I trust you too. If it wasn't for you, I could sleep forever. But I'm not mad. I want breakfast. Yeah, definite depression there. Sayori, this is just a guess, but did you wait until this morning to write this? No, just a little bit. You can't answer just a little bit to a yes or no question. I forgot to do it last night. Well, at least that makes me feel better about myself. Don't be mean. I still tried my best. Yeah. I didn't mean to say that it was a bad poem. It came out nice, or how should I put it? It sounds just like you. Really? Yeah. Especially that last line. I made eggs and toast! Even though you were late to school. It's bad to skip breakfast. I get all cranky. Well, I guess there's
I called it.
I guess there's no point in arguing. What were you saying?
I said I called it. I said because I'm hangry at the end of the poem.
Yes. She is a hangry one. Anyway, thanks for showing me. That was so much fun. Monica's the best. Yeah. But next time I won't forget. And I'm gonna write the best poem ever. Well, I guess I look forward to it. Who should I show my poem to next? Well, you said Natsuki last, so let's go Monica. Hi, Stabbity. Having a good time so far? Yeah. Good, glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyway, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. Don't worry, Stabbity. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? But it's that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon. Yeah, that's true. I hand Monica my poem. Great job, Stabbity. I was going ooh in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you. It's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That way, it always counts when I put in some effort. That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing that's full of energy, full of imagery and symbolism. Unlike Sayori, who likes using simple and direct words to describe happiness and sadness. Yuri likes it when readers are left to derive their own meaning out of it. It's very challenging to write like that effectively, both allowing people to get something out of it just by feel, or letting them deeply analyze all of the nuances. It can take years of practice, which I'm assuming Yuri has at this point. I never really asked, though. I'm sure I'm nowhere near her level yet. Don't worry so much about that. You do your own thing. Just keep exploring and learn by trying new things. I'm sure I'll end up trying different things a lot. It could take a while before I feel comfortable doing this. That's okay. I'd love to see you trying new things. That's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. Everyone else might be a little bit biased towards their own kind of styles, but I'll always help you find what suits you the most. So don't force yourself to write the way everyone else wants you to write. It's not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Well, let's read it then. Hole in wall. It couldn't have been me. See the direction, the sparkle protrudes. A noisy neighbor, an angry boyfriend. I'll never know, I wasn't home. I peer inside for a clue. No, I can't see. I reel, blind, like a film left out in the sun. But it's too late. My retinas, already scorched with a permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's just a little hole. It wasn't too bright. It was too deep, stretching forever into everything. A hole of infinite choices. I realize now that I wasn't looking in. I was looking out. And he, on the other side, was looking in.
Talking about us, are we?
Definitely talking about us. That poem makes so much more sense once you realize that Monica is a sentient program, breaking the fourth wall. So, what do you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. It's okay. Yeah, that kind of style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful. What was the inspiration behind this one? Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say that I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems lately. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming off strongly. Maybe after everyone is better friends with each other. Anyway, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem, or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on the paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about it...
the problem we were having earlier.
Yeah. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and go with the flow. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Alright, last one's Natsuki. Let's see how badly she hates it. But my voice is starting to go, so I need a little water to get me ready. And let's go to Natsuki. Huh? Stabity, if you're not going to take this club seriously, then go home. What? Harsh. What? You expect me to believe that you actually put effort into this? Do you think I'm stupid? I'm not a writer. Maybe it's not very good, but yeah, I did put in effort. We all start somewhere, right? If you're still proud of the first poem you ever wrote, then I'd like to read it. Painful to think about? Fine.
Doesn't like the taste of her own medicine.
Yeah. Well, sorry. You'll get better anyway. I'll tell you what to improve, but you're better off just trying again. Fair enough. Well, to each their own, I guess. Anyway, I guess I gotta share mine now. Knowing you, you'll probably think it's stupid. Eagles can fly. Monkeys can climb. Crickets can leap. Horses can race. Owls can seek. Cheetahs can run. Eagles can fly. People can try, but that's about it. Yeah, I told you that you weren't gonna like it. I like it. What? Just be honest. I am. Why are you so convinced that I wouldn't like it? Well, because everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff, so people don't even take my writing seriously. But isn't the point of poems for people to express themselves? Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid. Yes, exactly. I like when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem, seeing everyone around you do great things can be really disheartening. So I decided to write about it. Yeah, I understand. But the other nice thing about simple writing is that it puts more weight on the wordplay. Like I set up for a rhyme at the end, but then made it fall flat on purpose. It helps bring out the feeling in the last line. So you did. I guess more went into it than I realized. That's what it means to be a pro. I'm glad you learned something. Didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did you? Yeah, guess not. I decided to humor her with that last comment. I don't really care how old everyone is, but if Natsuki's feeling
They're
proud...
all at least 18, according to Dan Salvata.
Very good. But if Natsuki's feeling proud, then I won't take that away from her. Phew! I guess that's everyone. I glance around the room. That was a little more stressful than I anticipated. It's as if everyone is judging me for my mediocre writing abilities. Even if they're just being nice, there's no way my poems can stand up to theirs. This is a literature club, after all. I sigh. I guess that's what I ended up getting myself into. Across the room, Sayori and Monica are happily chatting. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch each of their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration. Meanwhile, Yuri smiles sadly.
What's with this language? Did you say something? Oh, it's nothing.
Natsuki dismissively returns the poem to the desk with one hand.
I guess you could say it's fancy. Thanks. Yours is cute. Cute? Did you completely miss the symbolism or something? It's clearly about the feeling of giving up.
What was that?
She just set off a time bomb.
Oh, that she did.
How can that be cute? I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. I was trying to say something nice. Eh? You mean you have to try that hard to come up with something nice to say? Thanks, but it really didn't come out nice at all. Well, I do have a couple suggestions. If I was looking for suggestions, I would have asked someone who actually liked it. Which people did, by the way. Sayori liked it, and Stabity did too. So based on that, I'll gladly give you some suggestions of my own. First of all... Excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I've spent a long time establishing my writing style. I don't expect it to change anytime soon, unless, of course, I come across something particularly inspiring, which I haven't yet. And Stabity liked my poem too, you know. He even told me he was impressed by it.
Natsuki suddenly stands up.
Oh? I didn't realize you were so invested in trying to impress our new member, Yuri. That's not what you're just...
Yuri stands up as well now.
Maybe you're just jealous that Stabity appreciates my advice more than he appreciates yours. Huh? And how do you know he didn't appreciate my advice more? Are you that full of yourself? No. If I was full of myself, I would deliberately go out my way to make everything I do overly cutesy. Is everyone okay? Well, you know what? I wasn't the one whose boobs magically grew a size bigger as soon as Stabity started showing up. Natsuki. Natsuki, that's a little, This doesn't involve you! I don't like fighting guys.
Suddenly, both girls turned towards me, as if they just noticed I was standing there.
Stabity. She's just trying to make me look bad. That's not true. She started it. If she could get over herself and learn to appreciate that simple writing is more effective, then this wouldn't have happened in the first place. What's the point of making your poems all convoluted for no reason? The meaning should jump out at the readers, not force them to have to figure it out. Help me explain that to her, Stabity. Wait. There's a reason we have so many deep and expressive words in our language. It's the only way to convey complex feelings and meanings the most effectively. Avoiding them is not only unnecessarily limiting yourself, it's also a waste. You understand that, right, Stabity?
Well... How did I get dragged into this in the first place? It's not like I know anything about writing. But whomever I agree with, they'll probably think more highly of me. So of course that's going to be... Yuri! Natsuki, you're right that I liked your poem. See? Wait. This is not an excuse for you to be so mean. You shouldn't pick a fight, just because someone's opinion is different. That's not what happened at all. Yuri wouldn't even take my poem seriously. I understand. Yuri. You're a seriously talented writer. It's no secret that I was impressed.
Well, that's...
But here's the thing. No matter how simple or refined someone's writing style is, they're still putting feelings into it, and becomes something really personal. That's why Natsuki felt threatened when you said her poem was cute.
I see. I didn't notice that. I'm sorry.
But Natsuki, you took it way too far. Yuri means well, and if you just told her how you felt, then this wouldn't have happened in the first place. Are you kidding? That's exactly what I did. It was her that... Natsuki, I think that's enough. You both said some things that you didn't mean. Yuri apologized. Don't you think you should too? MC being a decent guy and diffusing the tension. Yes, surprisingly.
Trying to.
Natsuki clenches her fists. In the end, nobody has taken her side. She is trapped, at this point being defiant only because she can't handle the pressure. I end up even feeling bad for her. Sometimes when I'm hurt, it helps to take a walk and clear my head. Sayori, she doesn't need to. You know what? I'm going to do that. It'll spare me from having to look at all your faces right now. Without warning, Natsuki snatches her own poem up from the desk and storms out. On her way out, she crumbles up the poem with her hands and throws it in the trash. Natsuki! She really didn't need to do that. I look across the room. Yuri has her chin buried in her hands while she stares down at her desk. I gingerly approach her and sit in an adjacent chair. Everything all right?
I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe I acted like that. You probably hate me now.
No, Yuri! How could anyone not have gotten frustrated after being treated like that? You handled it as well as anyone could. I don't think any less of you.
Well, all right. I believe you. Thanks, Stabity. You're too kind. I'm thankful to have you a part of this club now.
It's nothing.
One more thing. That one thing that Natsuki said about, you know, I would never do anything so shameful. So...
Eh? What thing did Natsuki say?
Well, never mind that. I'm going to make some tea.
Good idea. Make enough for more than one person, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. It's just about time for us to leave. How did you all feel about sharing poems? It was a lot of fun.
Well, I'd say it was worth it.
It was all right. Well, mostly. Stabity, how about you? Yeah, I'd say the same. It was a neat thing to talk about with everyone. Awesome. In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And maybe you learned something from your friends, too. So your poem will turn out even better. ... I think to myself, I did learn a little more about the kinds of poems everyone likes. With any luck, that means I can at least do a better job impressing those I want to impress. I nod to myself with newfound determination. Stabbity! Ready to walk home? Sure. Let's go. Sayori beams at me. It truly has been a while since Sayori and I have spent this much time together. I can't really say I'm not enjoying it either. Sayori, about what happened earlier. Eh? What do you mean? You know, between Yuri and Natsuki? Does that kind of thing happen often? No. That's really the first time I've seen them fight like that. I promise they're both wonderful people. You don't hate them, do you? No, I don't hate them. I just wanted your opinion, that's all. I can see why they'd make good friends with you. Phew. You know, Stabbity, it's nice that I get to spend time with you in the club, but I think seeing you get along with everyone is what makes me the happiest. And I think everyone really likes you, too. That's, Every day's going to be so much fun. It looks like Sayori still hasn't caught on to the kind of situation I'm in. Sure, being friends with everyone is nice, but this is a dating sim after all. Does it really need to stop there? We'll just have to see what the future holds, Sayori. I pat Sayori on the shoulders. I said that more to myself than to her, but it's easy to use Sayori as an internal monologue sometimes. Okay? Yeah, let's do this. Whew, my voice is shot. So, let's go ahead and save. And exit. And oh my! We have some stuff unlocked. Let's take a peek at side stories. There we go. We have part 1 of everything unlocked. Yeah, to get all 6, we're at... Well, it depends how you look at it. We're either at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I guess that's the way to look at it. We've got 5 of them unlocked so far. Mail. Oh, what's this? I've Laster. I'm on leave the rest of the week. Contact Ravi if you need to schedule server time, but I expect my jobs to run for a few days since we've collected so much data this week. How about we arrange a meeting to discuss the results when I return? Metaverse Enterprise Solutions. Okay.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Let's see what picture we unlocked. Just the one? Just the one.
Oh yeah, Dashi, are you a fan of the newer models, or do you like the older models of the DDLC girls?
I honestly can't tell the difference.
If you look for the gallery, you'll see a picture of all of them. It's a major difference. No, that's the normal one.
Okay.
Scroll up. That one, the sketches.
Oh, the sketches? Oh, yeah, that's like a concept sketch.
Damn it. Huh.
Yeah, I think I don't have it unlocked yet.
Yeah, I don't like their newer looks because they've murdered the poor gals.
Okay. Well, like I said, my voice is shot. Snowball, thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciated the company. Definitely needed it more for the previous episode than this one, but it was good to have you on this one as well.
Hey, if you need me around, I'm always free.
Wonderful. For everyone watching the recording, thank you. Please like, follow, subscribe. Check me out on Twitch, YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, and Kick. And check out the links in the description. On that note, have a great day, everyone, and see you next episode.